this has been quite the up and down. I started out so happy, feeling so young when I started this, and now here I am, old, decrepit. Put me in the home and the shelter. Okay, hold on, I need to say your name. At @red_Finch on TikTok. And her Batman is exactly who that was supposed to be. Oh my god. I make jokes. We make a little bit of light. We make a little bit of merry about this. But book 2, I was so stressed about finishing a book that I did not want to read. It truly did just absolutely ruin my health for a little bit, and the long overreaching issues with going to an ER. I don't know who's without a hat. Who's running around here with no hat on? It's not any of my black-owned business, I presume. But yeah, and yet I persevere because what else am I gonna do? What else am I going to do? So, last time we talked about Almost Famous by Zoe Dean. Second book in the Talent series, also by Zoe Dean. Zoe Dean, if you don't remember, is a writing duo between a man and wife who, by the point in the future, they've written many books, including next year's Year of series, where I will be covering the A-list, and I've already started reading it. It's not even January yet, but I wanted to get a head start because I know myself, and I know that first 30 days is gonna kick my ass. Boy howdy is do I feel like an accessory to murder, but we won't get into that yet. We'll talk about it later. I still got 2 more videos to do on this series, and then we can totally step into 2024 and these series. The last book in the Talent series, a Talent novel, there was supposed to be a 4th book, but it was canceled on the Wikipedia, and they're like, you can buy it on Amazon, and Amazon's like, we do not have that. Don't know what you're talking about, bestie. Love that energy though. And the problem with this series is that nothing happens. Nothing ever happens. Nothing happens. Okay, this time something actually does happen, but the second book means nothing, and as I was writing my notes for the first, like, looking back on it, I'm like, nothing happened. I have more extended feelings about this once I do my final wrap-up video, which honestly I feel like I like my individual book breakdowns, but I think I'm really gonna like Starpower. Book 3. Let's read the back of the book. Twinkle, twinkle, little stars. Mackenzie Little Armstrong is on a mission to help her talented BFFs rise and shine. Next stop, Hollywood domination. But as Mac quickly discovers, a Tinseltown takeover is not as easy as it seems. Mac manages to hook surf goddess Evangelina Bex up with a Quicksilver modeling contract. But can Beck survive the competitive quicksand? Coco Kingsley's got the voice, but when Mac hands her the mic, can Coco outsparkle her uber-famous mom? And what about up-and-coming starlet Emily Schuyler? Emily is on the set of her new movie, but is more excited about getting a kiss from her star crush. I said that right. Davy Woodward than tapping into her own star potential, so when Davy fesses up that he's got a thing for Mac, it could shatter Mac and Emily's friendship forever. Can the inner circle stay friends and turn their talents into star power, or will they have to choose between friendship and fame? The reason I was like, is because in book, I don't know if this is a second printing, or if someone pulled her aside and said don't, but the models that Beck is trying out for are, as I said in the second video, Dixie Girls, which is a Southern pejorative talking about the Dixie era, which was generally poor white, tracking down, this is both during the slavery, so enslaved and freed blacks to assault them, and, you know, the Dixie era is, you know, Dixie culture is opposed opposed to the success of black people specifically. There weren't really other brown people in that area other than the Native Americans, but that's, you know, one of those other things. So interesting that on the back of the book it's just totally gone. Never mix business and friendship. Just never do it. So now that we have dropped the secondary plot in spectacular fashion, we're just not even talking about social chair. Or being like that, bam, it's all rise and grind girl boss time. With Mac acting as the girl's agent, she has to separate her professional relationship with her friends with actually being good friends, and she kind of fails at both. Mac spends this entire book trying to adult when she literally cannot drive a car. She is a child. It is still going. Deeply unserious plot. So, Beck is modeling with Surf Dixie girls despite being too young for the role. It's supposed to be for 15-year-olds. She's 13. They let her in anyway because she's such a talented surfer and is also beautiful. She tries out and gets the role. But the other girls are insanely jealous and competitive to the new girls in the group. So you'll end up with, it is concerning to me that I managed to grab all brown little girls, but whatever. So you've got like the 3 main Dixie girls, and they're all like accepting of one another because they're all together. And then Beck is showing up there just serving cunt all in the frame, and they're like, ugh. And so they're mean to her. And then Mac is busy dealing with the other girls and just doesn't give, oh my god, just doesn't give Beck the time of day that she needs. For Mac's part, Beck needs one-on-one support, emotionally and career-wise, which Mac physically cannot give her without, you know, while taking care of her other friends and clients. Coco finds success with an indie turn in her music, but abuts it against her mother's image as out-of-date pop star, as she feels stifled and embarrassed by her mother's image and grand clout. She wants to carve her own path to stardom, but keeps getting tied back to cardamom. And I want to make sure that the joke is landing, that I'm saying cardamom, not just cardamom. Mother. Cardamother. Emily is finally getting to act after this silly retcon, because if Zoe Dean doesn't fucking care, neither do I. Whoop-de-doo. The little retcon that I think is so funny is that, and I said it, it's literally in the thumbnail of the first video, is that the movie that she's trying out for is literally, She's the Man. And then, like, they're like, okay, we were getting everything set up, and then we realized that movie actually already exists. So we're gonna switch it so that the boy is in drag to get there. And so she finally gets to act, but all she can focus on is kissing Davy. There are so many things I wish they'd done. There's like the PA who's cute and fun, and what I've learned very quickly is that Zoe Dean does not care about an age gap relationship, even if it starts getting out of the Romeo and Juliet clause land. Transformers, Michael Bay, you'll never see heaven for introducing that to me. But there's so many things we can do with it, but we insist on it being about her and Davy. But Emily gets nervous about Davy, and oh no, Davy likes Mac instead of her. Mac tries to block this out because he's too charming, and she's overwhelmed, and she deserves a little breaky break and a little fun. And like, it's so hard being, you know, the child of someone famous. Oh, ugh. So the plot of this book is as silly as ever, because all of them, the talent series really takes place in maybe 3 weeks, 4 weeks maybe of time. Talent 1 has so much movement, and then we put a hard stop on it, focusing on this BAMS thing, just for it to be the resolution being, who gives a shit? Middle school doesn't matter. Which, like, in the real world, totally, that's true. Middle school does not matter. But, like, you can't say that. We're in the middle of something right now, bro. Emily is an actress and actually acts in actual things, has the capability of doing so. And the role that she wanted, that she didn't get at the end of the last book, which I thought was good, that she didn't immediately get the first role she went out for, But she's back to getting it because the producer decided to move away from Claudia. You know, she gets it. The problem is that there was so much you could do with Claudia, like socially, out in the community, out in LA. Everybody knows each other. It's the biggest small town. They could do all of that, and they choose to do nothing. They are still going at it. You could have done so much with Claudia and her, and what that does when you get chipped from a role by literally like a nobody from Iowa. Is there nothing you could have done with that besides how can we shoehorn this boy back into it? They acknowledge that the plot of their fake movies, literally she's the man, he's the man, whatever, and all that. They change it so Davey is the one in drag. Let's go femboys! Woo! He changes his gender presentation to get into a school of his dream. Emily's playing what would have been Davey's role before. And she just gets to be cool, cute, and girly. And that's a dream come true for her. She gets to have she gets a PA friend where he's like, no one ever treats you with respect. And she's like, I'll treat you with respect, Tin Man. Everything's coming up Emily except for the fact that her best friend wants, her crush wants her best friend. And that's like the worst thing in the world. And instead of being like, let me focus on work, she's like, how could this have happened to me? And it's like, how could this have not happened? I find Emily's plot to be quite boring because it's literally just, I have a crush on a boy and that's stopping me from getting the bag. And you guys know how much I hate when girls let boys get in the way of the bag. You can't do that. If I had it my way, we would be following Coco. I think Coco's story is the most interesting. She's trying to find her sound. She's going to these open mics and coffee shops because that type of clientele is who Mac thinks is going to be really into her sad girl guitar music. Sarah Bareilles, Tracy Chapman, just sad guitar girl. It's all very Degrassi. Which I will save for my video more fully on this topic. It's just, this is kitschy. This is silly. This is stupid. And it doesn't need a prestige drama. But I also think it's bad. I just think what we were presented is bad. And thus... And I think the story is overwrought and hackneyed. And doesn't need to exist. I'm not normally particularly this mean. I think this was a really good first book with an upsetting drop-off in the second book, in which the third book could only hope to just plateau where we dropped off from the first book. I think the show works best as the content of a teen talent agent, where for her team of friends works better as an Awesomeness TV. I'm not using the right tone, but like a villain of the week type, where you're like, okay, we're gonna get you a role and we're gonna do this, with overarching plots of her three main friends doing different things, but her also coming into contact with other famous young people could work. But we are very insular, so it's like these three who have talent and then the other two nepo baby villains. But I think Coco of all the storylines is fascinating. However, the execution is just, I wish we knew more about Mac and her friends. I wish we knew more about Coco's mother. Mac is working as both her friend's agent but also their fearless squad leader, and she's got to put some tough love and still be a friend so that it manifests as her realizing that she has a crush on DVD, and that's coming up to odds with Emily because Emily still has a crush on VHS cassette, and Blu-ray 4K HDR has a crush on Mac, and so that's really hard for Mac because she kind of likes him too, but she's like, Emily, don't date him, bad, bad, bad. And Emily's like, you're just wanting for yourself, and she's like, not technically. This is still a bad idea for you to be dating your co-star. Mac physically cannot give her attention to Emily, or to Beck, who truly needs it. And Coco's being fucking pigeonholed by industry jerks, known for being industry jerks. late stage Gen X, just absolutely being moralistic about the pop music that people listen to, and same for other millennials. Bullying a child! A child! And again, Beck's plotline with the Dixie Girls is pretty cut and dry. It's mostly to do with Mac ignoring her, and then there's like a failed party, because there's always a failed party in these books, where Mac is like, yes, to do a party to make everyone feel better. And what doesn't it do? Work. Coco decides to go, so Mac gives her this rocker, indie rocker kind of look. It's different from the glitz and glamour. It's very indie sleaze. She's going to be totally on trend for 2012, which I believe this book came out. And 10 forward, Coco decides to go by Cordelia Rose instead of Coco Kingsley, because she feels like she's got older men attacking a middle schooler about what her mother does. And there's this guy named Finn Grace that I'm supposed to believe has a crush on her. She's at most 14 and is like, you're your mother's daughter. I didn't think they would make good music as a people. And she has to defend her mom, but she's also like, I get it, but doesn't mean you get to say it, jerk. She realizes that her mom is lame, and she goes about separating herself from her mother's image, and her mom's like, oh, I want to be a pop star again. I'm gonna go on tour, and I think you should open up for me, because she hears the song. Well, Coco's like, I actually don't want to be a pop star anymore, in an attempt to be like, I'd rather not be a pop star than tell my mother that I don't want to be connected to her and her legacy. But because now that they are both artists, Cardamom is so much more relatable. She's so much more vulnerable with her daughter child, because she feels like her worth is tied to her popularity. She feels that her child gets it now as an artist. And Coco sees how much her mother's self-worth is tied to her popularity. She's burnt out and makes a fool of herself. And maybe, Doc, that's the parentification of a child that shouldn't be applauded, but I can't help but really, like, look at it and think about what this is actually simulating. Is like, she's like, I want my mom to be proud of me, but I also want to do my own thing. She doesn't know what to do and how to do it in a way that's best for her without embarrassing her mother. Her mom doesn't want to be the cool mom, cool grandmother. Cardamom is just like big and over-the-top theatrical person. So the idea that she's too big and too much, specifically going into the time period post-recession, where we're like, we want big, loud pop songs not made by big legacy artists. Like Madonna wouldn't have another hit until like 2013. And I think part of that has to do with that kind of big, bombastic, happy, glittery, disco-y sound, Scary Spice Girl sound from 20 years earlier, just not, it's only 10 years earlier, just not being what's in. You've got too much somebody that I used to know energy happening. So Beck's plot line is that the Dixie Girls all hate each other, and she's been left alone with no friend to help her deal with the fact that all these bitches hate each other. They're all catty, and for some reason no one will stick around because they're always fighting whoever the new girl is. And Mac keeps sending her like cute bathing suits without actually like realizing that she's gotta surf in these. This is not the time for hot, sexy bathing suits. Instead of sending her, you know, the things that she needs, she's not listening to her, and she's not there to see what she needs. And she's got to give all that attention back to Emily, which we have looped around to, again, Davy. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Emily threatens to go home again. She's on the phone with Paige. Paige is like, you're not coming home. Just because something's hard doesn't mean you can't. She keeps trying to go home. Let her go home. But her friends and family keep being like, just because something's hard doesn't mean you can just stop. Which is like, that's fine if you're getting your rope climbing badge from Girl Scouts, but like Hollywood will chew and spit you up. I'm filming this a mere 12 hours after watching the 9-hour Quentin Reviews video. And the last 2 hours is a recap of I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. And I've always believed that child stars are unethical inherently. But it really, like, the type of parents who let their children be stars, who are pageant parents like that. Like, there's gotta be some inherent, like, shit, you've gotta take some tests, you gotta get investigated if you're gonna sign your kid up for acting that young. But Emily doesn't go home, and so what Mac does is Mac Deus Ex Machinas her mother again. This is the third book in a row that she does this, where she's like at the pool with her mother, and she's like, Mom, I've been having a really tough week. And her mom is like, yeah, I bet you have, bestie. And she's like, Mom, how do I fix this tough week I've been having? And she's like, you're doing actually really good. You just need to be a better friend. You've been a really good agent. You need to balance out being a good friend, because that'll make you an even better agent. So you need to, like, having a party is not what you need. You need to actually do material things that your friends actually want you to do. So Beck gets a modeling agent. Like, she's just gonna be straight up modeling. Look out, Kendall Jenner. And okay, so in the second to last chapter of the book, they get the whatchamacallit, the director's like, okay, we're actually going to be filming this last scene where you find out that Davy is a boy. At a Miley Cyrus concert. She's really excited about it. It's gonna be great. She was gonna have an awesome time. Well, last minute it gets changed to a new up-and-coming artist. You'll never guess who it is. It's Coco. So Coco gets to perform at an actual concert, like people are there, but it's also just for the film. So she gets that gig, she'll get distribution rights and the thing. Mac pulled those strings. Good for Mac. Emily gets to kiss what's-his-face, and she does her lines, and she does it so well, and she's like, I have the best friends in the world, and I get to make art and it be beautiful, and I love it. And I'm like, love that for you, girl boss, super slay. Yeah, that's Starpower. Obviously there's supposed to be a fourth book. I don't know if that was gonna be the end, if they knew it was gonna be the end, but they didn't get one. I want to know if it was like this bad, this book sold so poorly that we literally have to fucking abandon this, or if they gave her 3 books and then when that did not work, they were like, done. I think Poppy pretty soon after that, like, folded an imprint. So it's not like there's a lot I can go back and look through. The Wayback Machine is nearly unusable for this section of information. But yeah, I'm gonna do one final video about this, just because I wasn't sure if I was going to, but I already wrote the script. So it's gonna get, honestly, don't read this series. That's my main thing. Yeah. Bye guys. I don't know. Sorry. I don't feel like I need to say anything else, because literally I'm gonna do a final wrap-up video. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Megan_Blush_, and thank you for 100 subscribers here. This has been my baby, and I've had a lot of views, but I haven't had a lot of subscriber turnover. So it's really good to have you guys here and hang out and chit chat. And on my other channel, I'm approaching 250, and that's always fun, because who doesn't love being big enough to get weird haters? Yeah, alright. Bye guys, I'll see you next week.